What is up, people? What is up, people? So I'm working with a client right now who we've been making offers for probably like the last 3 weeks, and all 3 weeks they've been unsuccessful. So 2 days ago, we're in a property. The client loves this particular property, and then I could see my client slowly coming to terms with the fact that it is very well possible that they are not going to be able to compete competitively for this property. While we're just talking about the potential offers that the seller can expect to receive for a property of this condition, this caliber, the location, my client starts to cry while we are in the property, and they said something that I know that a lot of people are probably going through right now, and that's the purpose of this video. So they said, Abraham, we've been saving up money for several years. While it seems like it's not a lot of money to some people, it's a lot of money to us. We're now pre-approved for this number that we never really even thought we could ever possibly be approved for. We got so excited because we knew that today, this year, 2022 was going to be our year to buy a home. And it feels like we've done everything right. It feels like we did what they told us to do, but then we're now trying to buy a house in this market and we are falling short. We are not able to compete. We have to change our expectations around price, change our expectations around the location that we thought we wanted to be in, or that we envision ourselves being in. We had to change our expectations around the type of property, right? Like we thought we were going to be in a certain size home, but even those expectations are changing. We even thought that we were going to be able to use a certain type of financing, and even that financing is no longer competitive in this market. It really feels like we did everything right, but we're still falling short. What is going on? And I could just see my client as they started to cry, as they start to come to terms with most likely what they were going to have to do in this particular market, that I realized that, a couple of my clients have had similar conversations, and it's understandable. It's understandable that you feel this way. This is a challenging time to acquire real estate at this time. Just know that you're not alone, right? You're not alone. We're going to talk about a couple things you can do to potentially help yourself, to position yourself in the future, right? We're also going to talk about, for the individuals who are probably entering the market, what they can also do. And, another thing I was thinking about is, a lot of my clients come to me. They already have kids. Some of them have school age kids. Some of them have just started having children. And I think it's this market is a great time to have an open dialogue or a conversation with your kids about markets, about reality, about making plans and those plans not working out. Because if you have kids, like I have two boys, they're 11 and 13. What if my boys go to college and they go get a degree that the market doesn't say is worth anything, right? Like, when should I have that conversation with them? This is a great time to discuss markets with your children, as you too are managing the market, right? So first of all, you already come to the transaction, or you already come to the process with expectations, and that's normal, right? Home ownership has been kind of sold to Americans for the longest time as one of the only ways, or one of the best ways, to build equity, to build wealth. So it makes sense that you would have this idea that A couple years ago, one of my friends who is around the same age as me, they were talking to me about the fact that they hadn't bought a home yet, and they're in their mid 30s, and they were saying, "Man, I feel like a failure because I haven't bought a home. I have friends who have purchased a home. I haven't purchased a home. Man, what am I doing wrong?" It's not to say that you're doing anything wrong, right? You still have a whole life ahead of you, right? Plenty of years ahead of you. So there is still time. Just go gentle on yourself during this time. This time, like I said, it is stressful. It is brutal. You are doing some things that you probably never even imagined that you would do for a property right now. But just remember, this is just a temporary period of time. It's not going to be like this forever. It hasn't been like this forever, too, right? So you can imagine a time when it's not like this because just 36 months ago it wasn't like this, right? So give yourself some space. Don't go too hard on yourself. But there is something that you should realize that this market is bringing a new type of buyer, right? In the olden days, we only had what you see on this little diagram right here, right? We only had the premium buyers were individuals who had cash in the Northern Virginia market. That's really less than 10% of our overall market. So those individuals aren't really as important to the conversation. And they're still not that big of a representation of our overall market. So I wouldn't say you have to be concerned about those individuals, right? And then we have conventional financing. Conventional financing is always going to be above government financing, either through FHA or VA. Conventional financing is a little bit more challenging to acquire. The individual usually has a higher credit score. They usually have a little bit more assets. So just a perception, even if you do have a high credit score, more assets, but you're using a government-backed loan like the FHA or VA product, the real estate agents perceive, society, the market perceives conventional as a stronger product. And then underneath FHA and VA buyers, we have first time home buyer programs. That's going to be any type of state subsidized program or county subsidized programs. Those programs are not able to compete as competitively with the FHA or VA buyers because they have even less cash than those government backed buyers. And so and also they usually have like a smaller price range, right? Because they're just starting out the process. And then at the very bottom of this, the little pyramid, we have owner financing. Owner financing is the very bottom. You're asking the owner to stay on the title and essentially you write checks to that individuals. We don't see hardly any of that right now in this space, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that. So what is really going on, or what has really changed in the last 24 months? There's this new buyer out right now, and it is a loan plus buyer. That's right. It's even weird to even think that this type of buyer client is really just taking over most of our market, at least in Northern Virginia. Depending on where you're watching this, I don't know what's going on in your market, but there's this new buyer called a loan plus buyer. Right. So this is a buyer where they take a traditional loan, right? Either government backed or conventional, right? And then they add cash to their loan, right? So they're going above and beyond the what the loan stated that they will be able to do, and they're taking cash from any number of places, right? They're going into their investment accounts, they're going into their savings accounts, they're going into their retirement accounts, they're going anywhere, right? I mean, it's serious. It's amazing to watch people find cash to pair with their loan product, right? And this new type of buyer is actually a little bit more. It's actually a little bit more strong. I would say stronger. I'm trying to use the correct words, but like I said, in the old days, we really had these cash buyers who were at the top, right? But you see, with a cash buyer only has as much cash as they have. You see, with a loan plus buyer, the loan plus buyer now has the lender covering a percentage of of the home purchase, right? And then they are just bringing any additional cash to the table. I mean, we've done several transactions, and a lot of our clients, they just choose not to use a lot of their cash. But in this market, people are doing whatever it takes, right? They're pairing this together. And so I would say that this is that new buyer that's really causing a lot of people challenges in this particular market. So you probably think to yourself, what do you do? What do you do next, right? We've talked about the problem. We understand your position. So what do you do next? Well, in a normal circumstance, you go after products that aren't as desirable. New construction isn't as desirable. Why isn't it? It isn't as desirable because it takes a long time to acquire, right? If you're buying a new construction property, you're looking at maybe a 6 to 9 month build out time. Most of the purchases right now, people want to take possession in 30 to 90 days, right? So you can go to a new construction product. The problem with new construction in Northern Virginia, where I'm located, is that we don't really have too much new construction inventory, right? Our market is pretty much developed. If you're going to buy new construction, you're probably going to be commuting 45 minutes plus to work, which then doesn't become desirable. New construction is also more expensive because they don't really build new construction properties for first time home buyer market. So really, new construction is like a step up market. Even some of the condos will still cost like $500,000 for a condo. Townhouses will cost anywhere from start at $700 to $800,000. Single family houses will sometimes start at the low nines and go up to like 1.3, $1.4 million. So you see this new construction market, while it's advantageous in other markets, in Northern Virginia, we have very little land. The land that we do have, they're just building these larger properties. So then that doesn't become an option, right? And so then there's a strategy that we like to employ for our clients, which is called 8DS. It just stands for 8-day 8-day strategy. And that just means that you just want to look at properties that are still on the market after the first weekend, right? So after your first weekend on the market, is the property still available? If it is still available, it's a great time to jump on the property. Most properties in our markets come on the market. Most homes in our area come on the market on a Thursday. Excuse me. So by Wednesday of the following week, if it's still on the market, that's a great time to jump on the property. The number 3, extend your commute, right? So maybe you thought you were going to have a 45-minute commute. Now it's probably time to explore an hour and a half. If home ownership is important to you, right? If it is important to you. The next thing you could do is decrease your price. Decrease your price so then you can compete against a different type of buyer, right? So let's say, for instance, we have a lot of clients that are pre-approved in that $600,000 price range. Maybe you go down to $500,000 and you're competing against that $500,000 buyer. Now, I will say some of our clients are going down to $500,000, but then they're still not aggressive enough to compete with even the people who are in the $500,000 price range, right? Because you got to remember, everybody right now is doing a loan plus type of deal where they're taking their financing, right? They're taking their financing and then they're pairing it with whatever additional cash they have, shoe boxes, selling, working another job. They're just accumulating as much cash as they can so they can pair it with their loan, right? So decreasing your price, but still maintaining the same strategy will not lead to any success. You have to change your strategy up. Number 5, a very popular option right now we're seeing is people are just waiting. They're saying, you know what, Abraham, I just can't handle it. I can't handle the market. I can't do what you're asking me to do. I just simply do not value buying a home as much as I thought. I'm just going to wait. And that's fine. We'll talk about waiting in a couple minutes, but that's also an option, right? The next thing you could do is, and this is what I told my client who was shedding a tear inside the property that we were touring over the weekend, is I said, you know what, how about you just commit to making 10 offers, right? Let's not get emotional. let's not get into judgment. Let's not say, I should have done this, I should have done that. Let's just commit to making 10 offers. And I will tell you this, if you can commit to making 10 offers, to doing the work of finding 10 properties, the numbers will work in your favor, because you're going to come to terms with what type of property you can really afford, what type of property you can really compete for. Sometimes that just takes a little education, right? Sometimes we have clients who only make 2 offers. The offers don't work out, and then they back out of the market. They really haven't learned their lesson. Sometimes it takes a little while to learn exactly what you can afford, right? I put it to this: when I was a young guy, I used to work at Saks Fifth Avenue in the Christmas department, right? I couldn't afford to purchase the product that I was selling at Saks Fifth Avenue, but I was able to afford several things at Saks Fifth Avenue that were on clearance. Right, I was a clearance buyer at Saks Fifth Avenue. While I worked there, I had the employee discount. Some of the things that they were selling were so expensive, even with the discount, I couldn't manage to make the purchase make sense. But as soon as the item went on clearance, and I mean as soon as it went on clearance, I used to kind of walk around the men's department every day just waiting to see if they had new clearance items, right? And as soon as the item went on clearance, I would jump on it, right? And so while I was working at Saks Fifth Avenue, I picked up 2 pair of Gucci loafers. I think I paid $150 for 1 pair, and another pair I probably paid like $225. I still have the burgundy pair. I sold my white pair for actually more money than I even paid for it. And this is that type of market, right? You have to know, okay, great. I'm not willing to at that time pay $600 for a pair of Gucci loafers, and I'm not willing to pay $800 for a pair of Gucci loafers right now. So I am a clearance Gucci loafer buyer. That's what I am. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. As long as I can get myself a pair of Gucci loafers, if that's if that's the thing I'm looking for, then that's just how it is. And it takes time for you to come to terms, and also to stop judging yourself. So many of my clients right now are judging themselves. They're going internal with this dialogue about they're not worthy, or I should have done more. I should have bought at a certain time. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. All right. You have plenty of time. You have plenty of life to live to make this purchase make sense, right? Commit to making 10 offers, commit to learning the market, commit to having a better strategy, right? This is a game, right? You're just playing a game. You're playing the game to win, but you're playing a game. If you haven't been playing a game at this point, or, one thing I'm seeing that's common is that some of my clients are like, well, I'm pre-approved, Abraham. I want to buy a house. And I'm like, hey, everybody's pre-approved right now. Agents are professionals, right? And we don't make money until we sell a house. So that means that if an agent didn't make money last week, they're going to prep their clients for the following week. So that means that everyone's learning right now. Everyone knows at this time that you should be pre-approved, right? So being pre-approved isn't enough. It isn't enough. And so now it's just time to rethink your strategy, position yourself to win in this market. Now, for the individuals who are saying to themselves, you know what, Abraham, I'm just going to wait. I like to remind my clients whenever they tell me that they're going to wait, that real estate is this 30-year play, right? It's a 30-year play until you no longer have a mortgage on your property, right? You no longer have a mortgage after 30 years. Well, every year you wait is another year you extend your ability to live mortgage free. To live mortgage free should be the goal. And the reason why it should be the goal in Northern Virginia specifically is that most of our residents, like the median age for most of the areas in Northern Virginia, are going to be between 31 and 36, right? So usually for the 36 year olds, or the 36 median age is going to be at the more expensive parts, or the more luxury areas in Northern Virginia. So that's like North Arlington, McLean, Great Falls area, right? But for the most part, the rest of Northern Virginia is going to be in that mid to lower 30s range. So that means that if you do what you could do, right, to get yourself a property when you're 35, right? By 35, let's say your goal is to get a property by 35, then it means that by 65 you would have paid off your property free and clear, right? And now you are living rent free. You have no mortgage, right? What does that mean? What does that do for your retirement account, right? Let's say, for instance, if you're in a condo, let's say that you have, let's say that you now have $500,000 in equity. Let's say that if you're in a townhouse, you have $700,000 in equity. If you're in a single family house, let's say you have $1 million in equity. What does that do for your retirement? Your future retirement, if you have this equity to play with. Also, one of the things that I think is a tragedy, or it's pretty sad to see, is that so many people come here in their 30s, they work all these years, right, and then they are forced to move when they retire because they can't afford to live here anymore, right? And they can't afford to live here anymore because they have a large mortgage. They have a large bank. They have a large mortgage on their property, and now their income is going to be reduced. And if they would have just met me 30 years ago, I could have walked them through this same process. I could have walked them through the same conversation, that if you start this process as early as possible, the payout is there in the future, right? It's there in the future. So what do you think? What do you think? I hope, I hope this video helps you to rethink how you're positioning yourself in this market. I hope it helps you to adjust your mindset. And if you have kids, I hope you're having conversations with your children about this process. They should know about markets. They should know about competition. They should know that no one cares that you thought you prepared, right? It's all about adjusting to the market of the moment, right? This is the market of the moment. What are you going to do? How are you going to take advantage of it? How are you going to get what you want out of this? Right? Talk to your kids about this. I hope that this conversation also helps you. What do you think? Any questions? And I know I've been talking for a little while. Oh, 22 minutes. My goodness. That was a wow. Much longer than I anticipated. Any questions? Any thoughts? Anybody been thinking about this themselves? Excellent. So I think that's it for me. I think I could sign off. Let's see. I know this is on a couple places, and I'm not sure if I can see all the comments. I don't think there are any comments. But before I go, all right. Let's see. All right. Excellent. Good. So if there's no questions, I'll head on out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you try to make the most out of this insane market. I hope you enjoy yourself. Just know you're not going to be shopping for a house forever, right? One day this will be over, and then you'll go on to the next problem in your life. This is just a temporary problem right now. I hope it works out for you. Let me know if you have any questions. I can be reached. There's a little banner right here with my contact information. Also, you can click the link in the description. There is a perfect home questionnaire. You click on that link, fill out the online survey, and then we can schedule a time to meet. And you'll be laughing like this couple here who purchased a property in Huntington area in Virginia just recently. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next video. Peace.